Let's talk about lists. We've all made them. We got to keep track of groceries, things to do, even a bucket list. But what happens when you've got so many lists you can't keep track of them anymore? It doesn't seem like there's really a good way to organize all of that.
Except wait, there is, and it's called Pinterest. It's an app, you can use it on your phone or you can use it on the web. Either way is pretty easy. And what it lets you do is organize your interests into categories. You can make lists with visual representations of every item on there. And there's a lot more you can do with Pinterest. So stick around and I'll tell you how useful this little app really is. So I'm going to show you how to start off with Pinterest on the web. You can use the phone app and it's almost identical. The difference is just that in optimizing it for a mobile platform, they've gotten rid of some of the words on buttons and they're just pictorial, which if you've used the app on the web first, the symbols are pretty universal, it's not that hard to do. So as you can see here, I've brought up the main Pinterest page. Since I've already created an account, Pinterest just automatically fills my homepage with pins that are related to things that I've searched for or pinned in the past. So as you can tell, it's run by an algorithm that bases what shows up on your homepage on your own interests. So if I search for something like healthy dinners, I get a variety of options here that I can pin by simply clicking and saving. And I can add that to a board. And that's what makes Pinterest special, is that you can organize things. You can compose lists. You can also save things to subboards, which adds a further level of organization. So what you might be asking here is, can you like something? Do you have to save it? Well, no, you cannot just like something like you might be able to do on another platform. You can comment, but there's not really that popularity meter of being able to like something. The equivalent might be like the number of repins that something has. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see that this post has been pinned 251 times. So that's an indicator of its popularity. Now, one constraint here is that if you go to your own boards and look at the pins that you've made, you can't always tell how many times something of yours has been pinned after you used it. So that's another constraint on your popularity. So this number of 195,000 repins, that's before I pinned it. Sometimes you'll get a notification in your email address that tells you, hey, somebody pinned your pin. But if someone pins it from their board after that, you can't tell. So again, Pinterest is really not about creating a public representation of yourself. It's not about posting selfies or updating your friends on your life events. It's really more about organizing your own interests. In that same vein, you can message people or send them pins, but you have to know their email address. It's not really an intuitive feature here. If you're looking for a platform for communicating with people, Pinterest isn't really the place to do that. So consequently, you don't really need a lot of networking knowledge to work on Pinterest either. So another interesting point about Pinterest is that most people actually don't make their own content. They stick to pinning things that already exist on the web. So there's tons of categories and things that people frequently search for. So say I want to do a fall craft. Obviously, lots of people have been searching for that. And if I pull up something, say I like these cute acorns for a Halloween decoration, I can go to the person who pinned this, click their icon, and I can follow them if I want to see more of their pins, or I can just follow one of their boards if I want just a certain segment of their content. So the thing here is that this person clearly makes high quality content pins. They're clearly some sort of home decoration, home improvement type figure here. Now, a regular everyday user on Pinterest isn't really going to make content like that. Most of us just pin what's already been created. So you might think that that limits circulation of ideas a little bit on here, but it's your choice to just skim along here, not really participating or collaborating, but just being a consumer of the ideas that are already out here.
Now, another thing that limits circulation a little bit is the filtering algorithm. So I talked about that earlier, and yeah, it's great to see your interests pop up there ready for you to look at. But if you've done a lot of searching for a specific topic lately, your feed will reflect that, even if it's not something that you are interested in the long term. So a way to get around that, of course, like I said before, is to follow somebody so that you are constantly getting their content on your feed, but also just doing a couple more diverse searches. Maybe I want to go to New Zealand. And the more I search for a diverse array of content, the more my dash will be a little bit more reflective of my actual interests. So another filter that you might encounter on Pinterest is not one that's actually built into the website. It's actually the fact that a large proportion of the users on this site are female. So it's a lot easier for a female to find something to follow or be interested in on this site than it is for a guy. Additionally, you'll notice that there's sometimes companies on here, so you do kind of have to use your crap detection if you don't want to follow a company and see their advertising all the time. You just don't follow those people. So that's just you filtering yourself. And also, sometimes your ads outside the platform will reflect your searches in Pinterest. So that's an example of some surveillance that you might get on this website, but it's pretty harmless. So yeah, overall, Pinterest is a very useful platform for organizing your interests and just your life in general. It certainly improves on some old to-do list style apps. You can't really keep pictures in those. It just gets really over the top if you have a lot of lists. It's hard to organize. So Pinterest is a real improvement in that way. What it's not an improvement over is apps that are geared towards specific tracking of your progress. So there are a lot of pins on Pinterest that relate to health and self-improvement, and you can keep those pins organized and maybe follow workout advice or healthy meal advice, but it's different from a health tracker app like maybe Strava or Fitbits that connect to your phone. Those apps are specifically designed to track progress, and Pinterest doesn't really have a feature that is equivalent. Despite this, Pinterest is still a really useful platform. In fact, the lack of specificity is what sometimes makes it so great. I mean, look at the diversity of things that you can look for on here. Ultimately, Pinterest is what you want to make out of it. It tailors itself to your interests, and how you use that, it's up to you. But Pinterest is ready to adapt itself to whatever kind of list you want to make.